Think about the things you love about your neighborhood. Some of the things, like parks, boulevard trees, or your rec center, are things the city of Edmonton does. But a ton of things that make a neighborhood thrive aren't done by the city. They're done by people like you. So while the city can't build a nice little bubble tea place, or an ice cream shop, or a corner store down the block from you, we can make it a lot easier for the person who will. That's where development services comes in. When you apply for permits and licenses to build a house or open a business, you're accessing development services. These permits and licenses are the touch point, where you actually deal directly with zoning, the city plan, district plans, and all the other big picture stuff city planners do. Over time, as zoning and regulations have become more complicated, it's become more complicated to navigate through the permit and licensing process, which in turn means it's more complicated for businesses and services to open, to serve you. So what is the Zoning Bylaw Renewal Initiative doing to make that application process work better for Edmontonians? The city will always have a role in both regulating and facilitating development. We're a guide in your development journey. We know the route and the rules and try to make sure your path ahead is smooth. But we will step in if you're going off track. The Zoning Bylaw Renewal Initiative is about making sure regulations help build a safe and equitable city and aren't stopping the stuff Edmontonians want, like developments that align with the city plan's values. Regulations should still allow all Edmontonians to enjoy and cultivate their space in a way that reflects their ambitions, interests, and passions. This isn't going to let that one neighbor, you know the one, build a Space Needle in their front yard. But it might make planning that garage suite you're going to build a little bit easier. It's hard to reach your destination if you can't understand the map. That's why we're making access to zoning information easier and clearer. We want you to be able to understand the new system. So instead of digging through piles of jargon to piece together what's required of you, we're using plain language and visuals to help make the content easier to understand. While you might need a contractor or consultant to help you design and build your project, you shouldn't necessarily need one to understand the rulebook and what's required. Hopefully, you'll be able to read the zoning rules and understand them yourself. But accessibility isn't just about making complex things understandable. Sometimes, we can just make them simpler. Part of the renewal is asking which projects really need a permit and which don't. If something is safe and simple and low impact on other Edmontonians, it should not require the city to step in and hold things up with unnecessary reviews and inspections. Of course, it's best when the city doesn't have to step in at all. But when they do, you also want to know there won't be any surprises. The Zoning Bylaw Renewal Initiative is about making rules clearer and more consistent so they're more predictable for everyone. If you are opening a neighborhood pub, you don't have to hope that a planner is going to use their discretion to allow the project to go ahead. You want clear, transparent, and predictable rules that let you know what conditions you have to meet to do your project. Simpler and more predictable rules also make it easier for city staff to review permits and open the doors for automating processes. By automating processes, staff will be more available to support Edmontonians and get their projects across the finish line. Developing in Edmonton should support all Edmontonians. And all Edmontonians should have the same access to rules, regulations, processes, and reviews. Because Edmontonians are full of great ideas. And by making the land development process balanced, accessible, consistent, and equitable, more of those great ideas will become a reality. To find out more, visit edmonton.ca/zoning bylaw renewal.